What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark from MyMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today I'm reviewing Rent Free. This is coming out this Friday. You probably haven't heard of it, but maybe you should. Maybe you should have. Click like, subscribe, and share, and hit that notification bell because I review all sorts of random movies on here that don't necessarily have the same marketing budget as, well, I would say Elio, except we know that doesn't have a marketing budget. F1. We'll go with F1. And I also, while other critics say they go into blind, I actually go into things blind. I love that they try to simulate my experience, my daily life, but that's what I do. Generally, I watch things with audio description, which is an accessibility feature that we use for blind and low vision users. That doesn't have, no, this film doesn't have audio description, although most independent features don't have audio description, and rarely ever do I get a screener that ever has audio description. So, such is life. But I do support independent film, and it's sort of put me at a crosshold between two things that I love: audio description and being able to understand a film, and also supporting filmmakers who don't have access to $200 million Marvel budgets. So, Rent Free, what is it? It's two gay best friends living in Austin, Texas, find themselves in a bit of a bind and decide to try to bum it for a little while off their friends, do a little bit of couch surfing, see where they can stay, and maybe stay with some parents and hang out back at home and just kind of float around for a little while, save up some money. They don't really like where the Austin scene anymore, and kind of dream of being able to move to New York. My answer to that is New York has to be prohibitively more expensive than Austin. So it's a weird dream to want to go, we're struggling here in Austin. We have to move to New York. I think it would have been funnier if the flip was, we live in New York and we need to get the hell out of here, but we need to save up enough money to actually leave New York. I know people who move to New York and they pay like $3,000 for like I don't know, like a 400 square foot apartment. So where like the beds are in the wall like, across from their kitchen, and then they have like a toilet, and like that's their and I'm like, I moved to New York, and I'm like, oh my God, you live in a closet. So I don't really understand the dream, but anyway, so that was one thing that kind of put me a little bit. I was like, but to New York? I mean, it's literally like notably one of the most cost prohibitives anyway. I don't ever hear people going like, Austin is just so expensive. I used to live in Los Angeles and then I moved to Austin, and now I have to move to LA, or I used to live in San Francisco and then I moved to Austin and it got worse. So I don't know, but then again, I don't understand. I mean, super cool for you guys to stick it out in Texas and be part of the LGBTQ community, but they clearly hate you. I mean, like, governmentally, structurally over there in Texas seems like a really weird place to be. I don't know if we're trying to just repopulate Texas to try to push it the other direction. Maybe that's the thought process. But it seems like a weird place. I don't live in a blue state either, and I don't want to leave my city. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe like Austin feels good. Everybody's like, oh, I don't want to step outside Austin city limits, which is a show on PBS. And so, yeah, I had a couple of things where I was like thinking the whole time, I was like, this is an interesting choice. This is an interesting choice. This is an interesting choice. And I know that they're drawing it from the filmmaker's backstory and perspective and their life and all those kind of things. And that's how we get films like this, is, write what you know. So somebody wrote what they know or knew, depending on if they still live in Austin or not. And yeah, we have this, and it was okay. It was fine. I do need the audio description to be able to like fine pinpoint a grade. You don't want me to like guesstimate on a grade here because I have tried to do that in the past, and then it ends up like wildly different when I get audio description. I've both I've done it in the past that I've raised and lowered grades. And I've been like, oh, well, that makes way more sense. And I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck was I thinking? No, that was happening. Totally missed out on that. That's dumb. So yeah, I liked Rent Free. Didn't love it. It was okay. I liked it. I would recommend it. It's Pride Month. We certainly could do worse in terms of gay comedies. It's one that doesn't fight to try to be um, overly romantic. It's not. It doesn't feel kitschy. It feels more mainstream. Like it feels like somebody like they're really trying to make Rent Free almost like I hesitate to say Bros because I don't think Bros was as mainstream as Bros thought it was. Almost like Bros, but Bros was also a romantic comedy at heart. Um, so I guess a little bit like that, maybe a little bit like Fire Island. It feels a little bit more mainstream, broad in its approach. The kind of thing that you could sit there with straight people and like not be like, oh my God, all these jokes. Oh, are they working on my family and friends? I don't know. And worried about I don't know. I don't know if people you know what? I think probably people worry about that, especially when you live in areas like Texas. This is a weird review. But I've always been intrigued by LGBTQ culture in Texas and just I think this film kind of the fact that it's not just, flowing with drag queens and just kind of is trying to come across a little bit more mainstream in its approach makes me think that that's kind of where its audience is let's land in the middle. And oftentimes messaging works better if it lands in the middle than if it lands too far outside to where nobody's around to hear the message anymore. So if the message in this film is we go through the same kind of bullshit, the same kind of Gen Z nonsense, the false promise, of a better tomorrow, the idea that you could go to college and get a job and be able to buy a house, own a home, start a family, all that kind of stuff that generations before us were able to do. No, that's gone. No, we killed that. We like to still watch TV shows and movies about people who seemingly are able to do that, but most of those people seem to be working in I don't know Bitcoin or something. I don't even know where those people are anymore, but um, they're not your typical small business owners or entrepreneurs or the things of past. They don't just go and sell insurance anymore. The days of the Dick Van Dyke Show are gone. We're not doing that anymore. That's not what happened to middle class. Who knows? So in Rent Free, it sort of explores this idea, which I see a lot from. I work a lot with kids half my age, and you can figure that out for yourself. And yeah, some of them struggle, and they're occasionally unhoused and um, having to couch surf and bounce around, and they're saving up money. Now they don't always do it in pairs. Sometimes they'll find somebody who also is kind of looking for a place, and then they look for a place together. I remember back in the day moving out, and I moved out with friends. So yeah, but um, I feel like it's different for this generation. I think that's what Rent Free is trying to tap into. I think probably Rent Free is target audience is going to be a younger audience because I think they're going to understand this a little bit more. Older people seem to think that they did nothing wrong and that the world is just fine. And that, I don't know, things like massive amounts of student loan debt and that these rent costs and mortgage rates are absolutely, totally normal. Uh huh. Sure they are. So, yeah, there's a place near me that's like 800 square feet and they're trying to get $2,400 a month for it. I'm like, yeah, that makes, that makes sense. Just like 10 years ago, I was renting a place for that. It was like $800. I don't know what's happened to our economy, but we seem to not really care. And maybe rent free will address part of that. So, you know, it's, we're not really talking about cost of living and rent free is, so I liked it. Uh, like I said, it's a weird review, but some of these, sometimes when I don't have audio description, I can't analyze and break down and tear apart a film in the right way. So we go off of vibes. So these are the vibes that I got from Rent Free. Uh, I recommend this to Gen Z and Gen Alpha, honestly. Aren't they next? Like, better watch out. You should be watching this kind of stuff as like an educational tool because your life is only going to get worse. Just with more climate change. So, yeah, just dystopian futures. That's why we've been writing those damn books. That's why we keep writing young adult fiction with all of these horrific futures in them, is because we're trying to predict, actually. It's not really, it's not really science fiction. We're thinking one of these things could potentially happen. So, yeah. Anyway, Rent Free, I have no grade because, you know, like I said, it doesn't have audio description. I'm blind. But I have no problem talking about independent films and using my platform for this. So please like, share, subscribe, and do all that kind of stuff. I want to be able to talk about my audio description in front of the largest audience possible. I also would not stop talking about small films. So, yeah, put them on a larger platform. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And I will see you guys on the other side.